Let's start off by grounding, because we're going to be looking today at anxiety and what does yoga do for anxiety, because I've had a lot of conversations with people about anxiety over the last few days. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on television or in school plays, but I've worked with my own anxiety and I've worked with other people's anxiety, as far as, especially through the context of yoga, but also through things like nature meditations and in a very small scale way. So we're going to start off by feeling whatever is underneath us, the solidity of the ground, whether we're sitting or lying down, because anxiety comes from that idea of unknown and uncertainty. And gravity and this idea of being connected is certain. And if you have a blanket, I invite you to take your blanket, unfold it in a tidy manner, wrap it around yourself and put it underneath, so underneath your armpits like this. And then you can wrap it around the back of your body. You can also do this flapping thing, which is also really cool. So you've got the blanket tucked under your armpits, wrapped out in front. And this is great because you can feel your breath with it. As I inhale here, the hands move away. As I exhale, hands move together. There's also a comforting feeling to having something wrapped around us. Humans have this very hard, they find this, we as human beings find it very difficult to, for example, sleep without a blanket over ourselves. It crosses cultures, this idea of having something over us. So anxiety and yoga. Anxiety is normal. And that's the first key to learning to deal with anxiety, is to recognize that it is normal and that it is part of our wiring that goes back millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. If we go back to when the dinosaurs became extinct, and little precursors to us weren't monkeys, they were little shrew type things. They learned to react to danger, and we still react to danger. So get to tune your breath as you're breathing in and out here. Make the expansion bigger. And the contraction bigger too. This is good because you can feel your shoulder blades against the back of the blanket as well. So make sure your shoulder blades are down back. There are two chemicals associated with anxiety. One of them is adrenaline. So if there was a big bang here now, my adrenaline levels would shoot up and I'd be like, what was that big noise? The other one is cortisol, and that's more of a long-term thing. It's when I'm thinking, oh, I've got this thing that I'm supposed to do, and I haven't done it yet. Ooh, it's starting to eat at me. And I'm starting to think about it. Both these chemicals are used up through the body through breath. So the more we breathe, the more we process these chemicals, the more we can metabolize them. And if you're breathing through the nose and out through the nose, you're giving your body a signal that you are actually breathing. Feel a comforting feeling of this blanket around you. Feel your hands move away from one another as you breathe in, and your hands move together as you breathe out. I'm going to deal with that door in a minute. And what we're doing right now is actually a very good exercise for combating anxiety. And that if you get to that point in the beginning where you're feeling anxious, a few minutes of deep, rhythmic, regular breathing will work some of its magic. I never say that anything is going to make is a quick fix or instant results, any of that stuff. But the idea of sitting and grounding and breathing will help in a small way for some people and in larger ways for others. Still keeping that blanket tucked by your side. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a jaw massage, because the jaw is one of those indicators of stress in the body. I was reading a paper the other day that measured people's clamping pressure in their jaw and stress levels, and we bite our teeth. And as I always say in yoga, dentists are expensive. So you can take your fingers and put them in this bit just behind your cheekbones. Here, you'll feel almost like a thick rubber band. There's one on each side. And we can give that a massage with the tips of the fingers, starting from just behind the cheekbone and coming down, opening them out a little bit and coming all the way down to the jawline. For its size, this is one of the strongest muscles in the human body. We can use it to chew all sorts of things, from jaw breakers to bones to Lego. Probably shouldn't chew. But over tension in this muscle creates hypertonic state in the muscle where it's constantly switched on. And it's nice to let it go. Awesome. Remove the blanket, put it on one side. We might need it again, maybe. Let's play with a neck release, very gentle neck release to begin with. So sitting upright, hands on your thighs, letting your shoulder blades come down the back. Tuck your chin in a little bit and feel for that lengthening of the back of the neck, so that there's a long feeling in the back of the neck. So we're not making creases in the back of the neck. If it helps you to get a good position for your neck, you can use your hand, bring the thumb and the index finger on the back of the neck, cup the back of the head in the web of the hand and lift it up. It took me a long time to figure out where this position in space was for my head. We're going to do the simple neck release where we're going to let the head go to one side, the ear go down towards the shoulder. When we come out of this, it's really important that we use the hand to support the head and lift the head up. So I'm saying that in advance so that we know what's coming, because I see some people, they're doing it and then ping, they're straight up. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to be giving the body this idea that it's safe to relax. So let your left ear lobe come down towards your left shoulder. Maybe it's going to come down a little bit. Maybe it's going to come down like a lot. How far it goes really depends on the strength and build of your and tone of your muscle, of your neck muscles and shoulder muscles. If, like me, you've spent a long time behind the wheel today, or you've been busy, then the neck muscles are going to take some time to let go. If you're in a more relaxed state, a more chilled state, then that release will be quicker. If it feels good, if it feels safe, if it feels appropriate, you can close the eyes here as well, because that takes away the whole how far am I going thing, because that doesn't matter at all. You're leaning your left earlobe down towards your left shoulder. Feel for breathing into the right-hand side of the neck. If it feels good, you could take your hand, your right hand, and run that along the muscles of the right-hand side of your neck. Slowly and gently turn your head so you're looking down at your left armpit just a little bit. You can keep the eyes closed, but the chin is turning towards the left armpit. That changes the angle of the opening of the neck in the structures of the neck. And then bring your chin down to the middle of the chest so that your head's looking down. Take a long breath in. Feel for that breath widening across your shoulder blades and your shoulders. As you exhale, work on 1% more release. Then use your hands, put them underneath your head, cradle the weight of your head, and then lift your head up. Wow. Let's do that on the other side. We're going to take the right earlobe down towards the right shoulder. And I find with these that that if there's tricks to them, trick number one, don't try and go too far. Don't measure yourself. Trick number two, take it slow, because these muscles will relax over time. Maybe only 2%, but a little bit is better than nothing. And number three, don't do what I see in some Keep Fit classes where people are pulling on their heads. So don't do that. Again, if it feels okay, you could take your hand and massage the neck muscles on the opposite side. Finding any tender spots, any tight spots, and maybe just giving those a little bit of a self-massage. Then turn your chin so you're looking down at your right armpit a little bit. Again, you can keep the eyes closed. We're just turning the angle of the head a little bit. Coming back to that breath again. Then let the chin come down towards the chest. Huge breath in, feeling that breath widening the shoulders apart. And the exhale going for just a little bit more release, if it's available. Then picking your hands up, putting them underneath your head, cradling the weight of your head, realizing this thing weighs about 8 pounds, and then lifting it up. Awesome. Keeping with the breath, keeping with this idea of a good quality of breathing now. keen to move and doing, and to going and doing. We move and do some seated side bends. Inhale, feel for lifting your chest up. Feel for that broadening across the more oxygen in left hand down on the floor. Feel the texture of whatever's underneath that left hand. Right arm makes a big, big circle all the way to the left hand side. At any point today as well, realize that you have a choice of the poses we do, the poses you don't want to do, you want to do something different. Because that feeling of control is an important thing, that you are in control. I'm not in control. I'm just a voice on the internet. I've met most of you. Some of you I haven't. But I'm only inviting some things here. You are in control, and that idea of being in control is a powerful tool for feeling grounded in the world. Chest opener, keeping the head where it is, keeping yourself in that side bend, bring that top arm over to about 45 degrees from perpendicular, and find that place where you're getting an opening in the chest. I've been playing here with this idea of almost turning my chest up towards the sky a little bit here. So rather than keeping it in a side bend, I'm putting a little twist in here. So the chest is coming up towards the ceiling a little bit. Feels good for me. Maybe you want to play with that slowly. Breathing deeply here, breathing rhythmically. Neck release position with a little bit of a difference. Bring the hand down so it's hovering about between 6 and 12 inches off the floor, 15 or 30 centimeters if you're into metric, but have the thumb pointing up towards the ceiling, palm facing forwards. Take a massive breath in, feel for reaching your middle finger as far away from your earlobe as you can here. Exhale, feel for a release in the side of the neck, the side of the body. Still keeping your sit bones fully grounded here. Multiple stages to come out of this. Let the hand come down, pick the hand up off the floor, put it underneath your head, lift your head up to the middle. Feeling that weight of your head, it weighs a lot. Change the cross of the legs over. Boom, boom. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, lift the chest up. We want this opening across the chest. We're getting more oxygen in. And it just feels better. I much prefer this open across the chest. Right hand on the floor. Left arm makes a big circle to the right hand side. Feel for opening that left hand side of the body. Let the head come to a position that just feels good, whether that be facing forwards, looking down in a neutral position. Notice if you have your jaw clamped and gently let the bottom jaw move away from the top teeth. I always know when I'm really relaxed in this position because I tend to find myself dribbling. It's not a really cool thing, but it's perfectly fine to do it on your own mat. Chest opener position. Find that position for that arm. Bring it back, maybe playing with opening the chest up towards the ceiling just a little bit. And finally, neck release. Bring the hand down, thumbs facing up, palm facing forwards. Let the left hand come down, pick the right hand up off the floor, put it underneath the head, lift the head up. There's a lot of instructions there, but you've got it. Let's lie down on the floor and do some lying down twists. I'm going to show you two different ones. Yes, I can be seen. That's kind of cool. First thing, when you're lying down on the floor, make sure that you're feeling comfortable. Some people told me a while back they could feel their spine on wooden floors through the mat. Put another blanket down, put another mat down, because that's not cool. The other thing is being able to relax the head so that the neck. Sometimes in classes, you can see sometimes their heads are hovering just slightly off the mat because the mat's uncomfortable. If it feels uncomfortable, put a thin blanket or something underneath the head so that the head can fully rest down, because we don't want to be doing anything that is causing tension in the neck. Two versions here. I'm going to show you the easy version. I'm going to show you the slightly more complex version. You can pick whichever one you want to try, or you can even try both of them. Let's come into a regular lying down spinal twist first. Inhale, lift your knees up towards the chest. Take hold of your knees. Exhale, send your knees to the right-hand side so the knees come down onto the floor. Boom, boom. So you're lying down in a little bit of a twist now. Find somewhere comfortable for your arms. Believe it or not, everybody has a different spot. Some people like to have their arms above their head. Some people have their arms go out in a cross shape. Some people are in like a, whatever feels good. If it feels comfortable in this position and you'd rather just stay in this position, you can stay in here. But if you want to come into a butterfly, into a dragonfly twist, I'll show you how to get into that. So bring your knees back up to the middle if you want to play with this one. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Kind of position, we do this quite a bit in yoga. This left ankle, this ankle over thigh thing. Lying down pigeon is an example of when we're doing this. Now what I want you to do is to bring the sole of that top foot down towards the floor. So you're bringing the knee and that foot down towards the floor. Slightly different twist going on here. I much prefer this one. This one feels so great in my body. Come out of this one knee at a time, bring one knee up, and then the other knee up. Let's start off going to the other side with a regular lying down spinal twist, and then we'll follow up with dragonfly twist if you feel like you want to give that a go. So bring the knees up towards the chest. Roll your knees over to the right-hand side, knees come down to the floor, find a comfortable place for your arms. Both your bottom knee will probably come down to the floor, but the other knee might be hovering a little bit. If it feels uncomfortable, you could put a block or a blanket between your thighs so that if the top leg hovering just doesn't feel so nice. It doesn't bother most people, but if it does, you can put a block or something between the legs. If you want to play with dragonfly twist on this side, inhale, bring one knee up, and the other knee up, and then cross your right ankle over left thigh. Yeah, and then go over to the other side. Bring the foot down to the floor, knee down to the floor. Coming out of this slowly, bring one knee up, followed by the other knee. Cat exercise 1, this is a somatic yoga exercise, and it's very subtle. It can almost look on camera like I'm not doing anything. So it's a very cue-driven thing. So we're going to start down, lying down on the floor in this position that we're in, knees up towards the ceiling, feet flat on the floor, head down on the floor. Bring your arms either down by your side, or if you prefer, have them on your belly. People have a different spot for each one. Cat exercise 1 works entirely on the arch of your low back. So everything from the bottom of your lower ribs down to the place where your hip bone makes contact onto the mat. Some people will have a big arch, some people will have almost no arch at all. That makes no difference at all. We're all built different, we're all perfect. What we're going to be doing is on the inhale, we're going to lift that curve, make that curve a little bit bigger. So lifting the arch up. And on the exhale, letting the arch come back down to normal. Now, we're not trying to force the low back down onto the floor. We're just letting it come back down to normal. Inhale, lifting that arch up. Keeping the hips and the lower ribs on the floor. And on the exhale, letting it come back down. Inhale, lifting that arch up. Exhale, letting it come back down. Let's do a few more of these. I always feel like I get longer when I do these. It might seem like there's very little movement in here, but this is actually a great exercise to play with. If your low back feels tight, your low back feels painful. And the slower you can do it, the better. Now, in the interest of giving you choices, you can carry on doing that one if you want. This is a great exercise. I love it. You could stay here, carry on doing that. If you want to move with me and do some different abdominals, let's move on. Elbow to knee, stage 1. Keep your head and shoulders on the floor for this one. Feet on the floor, knees bent to start with. We'll upgrade. Take a big breath in. Hold your breath. Press bottom back ribs down onto the floor. Feel how that switches on your abs. Exhale, lift your left leg up about 45 degrees and press through the balls of the foot, pulling that belly down. Inhale, bring the foot to the floor. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, right leg stretches out, pulling that belly out. The leg goes out about 45 degrees, pull that belly down. Inhale, foot to the floor. You can carry on doing this one if you want to do something a little bit more complicated, a little bit more work on the abs. Lift the knees up off the floor, lift the feet up off the floor, knees over the hips, feet dangling down. We're going to upgrade it a little bit more. Head and shoulders still stay on the floor. Big breath in. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, left leg stretches out at 45 degrees, pull that belly down. Inhale, bend the leg, come back to that starting position. Huge breath in. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, right leg stretches out at 45 degrees, pull the belly down. Feel for pressing through the balls of the foot. Inhale to the starting position. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, left leg stretches out 45 degrees, pull the belly down. Inhale, starting position. Hold the breath, press those bottom back ribs down. Exhale, right leg stretches out, pulling that belly down. Inhale to the starting position. You can carry on doing that one, or any of the ones we've done before. Or if you want to do the final stage of elbow to knee, clasp your hands behind your head. Big breath in, lift the head and shoulders about an inch up off the floor. Hold the breath, press those bottom back ribs down. Exhale, left leg stretches out, pull that belly down. Inhale, back to the middle. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, elbows towards the left knee, right leg stretches out, pull that belly down. Feel for pulling that belly down again. Inhale, back to the starting position. Make it a big, long breath in. Hold the breath, press those bottom back ribs down. Exhale, elbows towards the right knee, left leg stretches out, pull that belly down. Feel for those ab muscles working. Inhale, back to the middle, big, long breath in. Head and shoulders still off the floor. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Elbows left, right leg stretches out, pulling that belly down. Lift the chin up towards the ceiling a little bit more, pull that belly down a second time. Inhale, back to the starting position. Let's do one more round. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, elbows right, left leg stretches out, pull that belly down. Inhale, back to the middle, big breath in. Hold the breath, press bottom back ribs down. Exhale, elbows left, right leg stretches out, pull that belly down. Feel for pulling that belly down a second time. And bring your head and shoulders down, bring your feet down onto the floor and take some breaths, long breaths in. Whichever version you did, congratulate yourself on following along, picking whatever you wanted to do, because that's cool. Making a choice and sticking with it is absolutely fantastic. And congratulate yourself for doing some abs. People have a love-hate relationship with abs. Find the blanket that we had earlier. Roll it up in a slightly better way than I'm doing here. Basically, you want something that you can put between your thighs to gently squeeze on. You can use a block for this, but blocks can be quite harsh to squeeze on. They have angles, they don't give as much, they can be kind of painful, which is why I like to use a rolled up blanket, or you could use a cushion. Moving bridge. This is sort of a follow on from the cat exercise one that we did earlier with the abs, where we started all those abs ago. Take a long breath in. Feel for your torso becoming long, your body becoming long. Feel for sending that breath down into your feet. Press your feet into the ground. Feel for how your hips lift up a little bit. Squeeze the block or cushion or roll between your thighs and lift your hips up on an exhale, maybe 2 or 3 inches. Inhale very slowly. Bring your hips down to the mat. Let them come down all the way. I see some people hovering at this point. We don't want hovering. We want the hips to come all the way down. And if you don't know if your hips are all the way down, little trick, lift your feet up and bring them back down again. Hold the breath. Feel your feet grounding into the mat. Exhale, slowly lift your hips up. Maybe 1 inch, maybe 2, maybe 3. Squeeze that block a little bit, squeeze that roll a little bit. Inhale, slowly bring your hips down. And if you can do slow, can you do smooth? Those two things are harder to do together. Bring your hips all the way down. Again, if you're not sure If you're all the way down, lift your feet up, bring your feet back down to the floor. Hold your breath, ground through those feet. Maybe lift the toes up, spread the toes, squeeze the roll between your thighs. Exhale, slowly lift up. Inhale, come down. Again, come down all the way. Let's do 3 more, focusing on full breath, moving slowly, and moving within a range that feels good. So do 3 more. When you're done, roll over onto your favorite side and come up to standing. Check that you have space around you, at least that you're not going to knock stuff off. We'll come into a warrior 2, left leg, left toes out, right toes in. Play with a position that feels like it works for you here. There's a lot of different positions. Maybe the feet don't need to be aligned. Maybe you need to be shorter. Maybe you need to be longer. The reason I always say that is because there's a tendency for people to think that there's a right position, a wrong position. Right position is a position that doesn't hurt. And then let the arms float up. Feel that they're really light. When they're up, broaden them, send them back a little bit so you're widening across the chest. For the next 3 breaths, I want you to focus on 3 things. 1 thing, 3 breaths. Number 2, feeling grounded in your feet so that you can feel the floor, feel your legs being strong, feel that stability in your body. Number 3, feel for being wide across the chest and light in the arms. When you've done 3 rounds of breathing, bring the arms down. The trick in Warrior 1, leg position, is to keep this leg position as you're doing a whole bunch of other stuff. The reason we get you to do this is because there's this whole twisting thing going on. But you want to be keeping this knee bent here and your feet on the floor, noticing if this foot doesn't want to lift up. Watch this foot here, well, your foot anyway, because it'll do all sorts of things when you're doing yoga. You don't want it to lift up. Reverse warrior, right hand, bring the right hand down onto the thigh. Feel for that connection being there because that's your safety switch to stop you going too far. Lift your other arm up into the sky. Feel for reaching for something. So you've got that grounding of the hand against your thigh here, and you've got the other arm reaching up into the sky. Then that top arm tilts slightly towards the right. You get to choose how far it goes. Some people are going to make it go a long way. Some people are going to make it go a little bit of way. The important things here, keep your legs strong. This is building leg strength. It's building stability. It's making you feel grounded. It's making you feel strong in the world. That's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing. We don't call them warriors for nothing. Take a big breath in and come out of this reverse warrior into an elegant warrior two. I'm far from elegant here, but I'm trying to make this movement slow, and I'm trying to keep my legs in the same position. Now you might be feeling this leg here is starting to wobble, this leg with the bent leg. You feeling it? If it is, that's working. That's kind of cool. Extended warrior variation. I love this one. Left forearm comes onto this thigh. Feel that connection between your forearm and your thigh here. The other hand scoops around the back, catches hold of maybe your waistband, maybe this bent thigh. Could go that far. Take a huge breath in. And on the exhale, roll that top shoulder back. A lot of things to bear in mind here. Get your neck in a position that feels comfortable. If you're not sure what that is, probably looking down at your hand is a good place for it. Really look at that one down there. Feel for keeping this strong connection to the ground underneath you. And feel for breathing deeply. Unwind your arms and come back into that warrior two. Do it slow, do it deliberately. Bring your arms down. No, look at your feet. Did they move? Did this one here move? This one at the back? Look at it. Now, straighten your legs, turn your feet so they're facing forward, and then heel toe your way to standing. One leg should feel really work. The other leg should feel like that was a bit of a holiday, not for any longer. Let's swap sides. Warrior two on the other side. Right toes out, left toes in. Feel for what the position that works for you here is. Because you had it a certain way for the other side, this might be completely different. Some people will need to shorten it. You don't want knee pain, you don't want ankle pain, you don't want pelvic pain, you don't want hip pain. Let the arms come up. It's the chance of the other leg to really work now. Whereas this one that's straight, this one gets a little bit of a vacation. But again, watch the foot so the foot doesn't roll out, the heel doesn't lift up, all that kind of stuff. Reverse warrior. Left hand comes down onto the left leg. Feel that connection. Right hand comes up into the sky. Feel for reaching up. Big breath in, broadening across the chest, and on the exhale, lean to the left. Choose how far you want to go. Feel that connection between the hand and the thigh. That's your safety switch here. Big breath in, come back into that warrior two. Keep your legs in the same position if you can. That's the tricky part. Broaden across the chest. Exhale at your shoulders and shoulder blades come down. This leg that's now bent, that was straight, is probably now feeling it. It's not laughing anymore like it was when it was the other side. Extended warrior variation, right forearm onto the right thigh. Feel that right forearm on the right thigh. Left arm comes back behind, catches hold of your waistband, catches hold of the thigh, wherever it feels comfortable. Big breath in here. Roll that top shoulder back on the exhale. Feel your points of contact on the floor. Also feel this forearm on the thigh. Inhale back into a warrior two. Let the arms come down. Straighten your legs, turn your toes facing forward, and then heel toe your way to standing. One more thing we're going to play with. Let's play with a warrior one. Stand at the front of the mat, and then step your left leg back. Turn your chest and your hips so they're facing the short end of the mat. It's like you're kind of running. It's like in this runner's position, but we don't want to be doing that. We want to lift the chest up. Keep pressing through that front leg, keep pressing through that back leg. Some people will feel this back heel lifting up. That's sort of okay here, but if you are doing that, bear in mind that you're working a lot harder than you probably need to be, and you can change your stance instead. We'll come to the working harder bit in a minute. Inhale, lift your arms up and stretch them out towards some imaginary thing that you're reaching for. Inhale all the way down to your feet. Exhale all the way from the soles of your feet up to the crown of your head. Feel your body lighten as you do that. Bring your arms down. See this back foot? Back toes are on the back foot. I want you to lift the heel up and turn the heel so it's facing back into this runner's lunge. So this is where you get to work harder. The lower you bring this back knee down, the harder your legs are working. But I want you to have the even amount of weight between the front leg and the back leg. You don't want to be leaning too far forward and you don't want to be leaning too far back. You might find it easier to do this by keeping the hands on the hips or having the arms dangling down below you, because you'll tend to realize at this point, if you're in the upright position, your arms will be dangling by your hips. But if you want to bring the arms up, feel free for bringing the arms up. This is a strong position. You're working the legs in a really, really intense way here. But you're in control. If you want to come out of it, come out of it. To come out of this, shift your weight to that front leg as much as you can. And then boop, come to the front of the mat. Doesn't that feel good? The other side, right leg steps back, warrior one. It might be different to the other side. It is for me. My knees don't want to turn in the same way on this side. So I shorten my stance slightly. Hips and shoulders face forwards. Make sure you're not leaning over this front leg. 50% of the weight in the front leg, 50% of the weight in the back leg. And then if it feels good, feels great, lift the arms up. Feel for opening across the chest. Runner's lunge or lunge with back toes curled under. It kind of has, we tend to call it two different things. Come up onto the back toes of the back foot. Bend that back knee to a point that it feels like you're getting the workout that you're looking for at this point. Arms can dangle down so the hands are by the hips, or you can lift them up. Feel for keeping an even amount of weight between the front leg and the back leg here. And to come out of this, shift your weight to that front leg. Bring the weight to the front leg, bring your weight to the front leg, and then hop to the front of the mat. I think give your legs a bit of a shake. Tree pose. Somebody asked me about this the other day, which is why I'm bringing it back. Tree pose is great for balance, but it also, somebody asked me about this foot here. This is my foot that's going to stay on the floor. Where should the toes be? Good question. We're all sort of built differently. So you might feel like your toes want to kind of like shoot out to the side, like mine do. This is how I am. This is how I was made. But we want to turn our toes so they're facing forwards a little bit. And there's a reason for that. Toes turned outwards when we're walking gives me and a lot of people in the world knee pain and back pain. So we want to be encouraging the body to walk with the toes facing in a straight line. And tree pose is good for this because the other leg, so take your weight onto your left leg with your toes facing forward. Feel for that weight being there. Feel how weird it might feel to have the toes facing forward. If you're somebody who walks with the toes facing forward already, this won't feel weird. To everybody else, it will. So the other leg, come up onto tiptoes of that foot. Feel how you're taking your weight into the other leg. Start off by bringing the foot onto the ankle. You want to bring that knee out to the side. So you're getting outward rotation in this thigh. Make sure that your chest and your hips are facing forwards though, but you're not this tendency to rock to one side. Bring them forwards. Now, if you want to bring this foot up onto your shin or thigh, feel free to do it. But if you're new to this and new to this foot position, keeping the foot on the floor like this is a great intermediate point. And if you feel like you want to make it a bit more complicated, because who doesn't want to make things complicated, you can lift your branches up towards the sky and you can sway like you're in the wind a little bit. Come back down, give your legs a shake. If you're used to walking with your toes out to the side, this will feel weird. But every time you notice it, it's a good thing to just go, oh, I'm going to just do a couple of paces with my toes pointing straight forward. Because if you do too many changes at once, it's not a good thing. Small changes are good. So shift your weight onto the other foot. Toes facing forwards. Take the weight into that leg. Feel for that leg being fully grounded. Come up onto the tiptoes of the other foot. Feel that extra weight going through that foot. Be grounded. Start off at the ankle. Get your balance, turn your hips and your chest so they're facing forwards. Maybe bring the foot onto the shin. Maybe bring it onto the thigh. Maybe lifting your branches up. Maybe swaying a little bit in the wind. Bring your feet down to the floor. Do little hip circles. Going one way and going the other. And come back to that feeling of being grounded. Whichever poses you chose to do today, you did them in a strong way, in an energetic way. Take that with you because that's power in the world. Let's come to sit down. Because standing up is great, but sitting down is also great. You know, I feel like I'm sitting down all day. Something a little bit different today. We're going to do a seated twist, then we're going to move on to either the option of sitting in an upright position or Shavasana. Again, giving people these choices. So start by sitting, feel the ground underneath your sit bones, feel for reaching up towards the sky, bring your breathing back down to normal or close to normal. Notice if your legs feel warm. Inhale, feel for lifting the chest up, leaning back a little bit. Bring your left hand onto your right knee and turn to the right hand side of the room. A nice little twist to this twist is to slowly turn your head in the opposite direction. So you're turning your head towards the left. Do it slow because that way you can feel for how far it wants to go. Inhale all the way into your sit bones. Feel for that lift that breath creates. Exhale, feel for letting go. Long breath in, longer breath out. Inhale, come back to the middle. Do it really slowly. Slower, the better. Exhale, the shoulders come down. Maybe roll your shoulders a little bit. Inhale all the way into the sit bones. Feel for that breath going, pressing down towards the earth, lifting you up away. Right hand onto the left knee. Left hand goes behind. You're turning toward the left this time. Option here, slowly turn the head to the right. If you're feeling with this twist of the head in the opposite direction that like, wow, that's quite a twist, then yeah, your head bone is connected to your, well, maybe your hips through the fascia. Inhale, come back to the middle. Do it really, really slowly. Exhale, shoulder blades down. This is where you get a choice. Whatever version of Shavasana or non-Shavasana that works for you, because Shavasana doesn't work for everybody. And we've only got, a minute anyway. So it's going to be short either way. So find yourself something that works for you. Maybe it's a sitting position. I much prefer this position. When I became a teacher, they said, you have to sit doing Shavasana. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I much prefer this position. So find something that works for you. And if you love all the blankets and the props, you've got a minute. Shavasana or non-Shavasana. For a minute. Start to deepen your breathing very slowly. And recognize that the next time you feel tense or what feels like stress or what feels like anxiety, that it is okay to take time out for yourself. Find somewhere quiet, find somewhere safe, sit down, and do some deep breathing. Because if nothing else, it's not going to make things worse. It's a gift that you give yourself. And now you can slowly move or fast move or whatever movements feel good, stretching, yawning. It's a Friday, it's a Monday and it's quite nice out there. So maybe you've got things to do that you're going to do outside, or maybe you're chilling. Whichever one it is, feel for coming up to a seated position or bringing yourself back from yoga world into ordinary world, just that little bit, ever much you want to move through that space, through that time, you get to choose. And congratulate yourself on taking time for yourself to do yoga, because we're in a busy world and everybody's got all these things pulling on them. But you took the time, and that's really good. And it's something to celebrate. So thank you very much for joining me today. It is a pleasure, as always, to do yoga with you. I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.